Welcome to the McGolf Shop and What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary, and we are What's in My Drawers because old club makers are tremendous pack rats, and that's what I am. So we get to talk about golf club repair, fittings, opinions. If it deals with golf equipment, we'll talk about it. And today is a special edition. It is Memorial Day in the U.S., so we, celebrate, or let's give thanks to those who served and gave their all. If you haven't, when we are done, please give yourself about 30 seconds to give them a moment of silence. And we like to thank, if you are a veteran, whether you're a U.S. or not, thank you for your service. And because it does, whether people believe it or not, and I believe that. So the other part is, it's also Mrs. McGolf's birthday today. So while you guys are talking, and I know a lot of you guys talk to her, wish her a happy birthday, and we'll see what happens from there. All right, to get started, you know what we do here, guys and gals. We start talking about, number one, let's go backwards a little bit. Number one, if you would, like and subscribe, and that way we keep progressing. And if you would, we do have a video that is loaded and ready to go. We're going to talk about how to pull an iron shaft without any real tools. How about that? Again, if you guys are interested in any kind of like a merchandise of sorts, we have the aprons, and we have what they would be large and extra large. And we have some that even have colors. We got orange, and these are all the larger kind. Purple. We have green, which is my favorite, right? Green. And then the traditional white, for those guys that like white. This is the extra large one. The thing's pretty big, right? It has the 3 pockets, really long straps, and very, very adjustable. So worth a shot. If not, we also have the tour towels that have been going very, very well. Thank you very much, guys. And so there's that one. Going forward, last week, I'm kind of just tickled with this thing. Last week I went to Westchester Golf Course, and thanks to Joe, who's a guy that listens on here, invited us up, and I always get a trinket wherever I go, and I got one of these. All right, it's a divot tool, nothing special, right? You hit it, off it goes, and it's got the ball marker. Now that in itself is really cool. I carry one that has a Nebraska logo on it, but this one is a little different. See that little guy right there? That's a pencil sharpener. Right? A pencil sharpener. All packed up into this one spot. That's what that slot is for the pencil stuff to come out. I thought that was probably the coolest little gizmo ever. So Pitch Fix is probably going to get a phone call here in a little while. And Bob, the putter grip guy, my golfing buddy, he uses them to sharpen tees if you want to make them shorter, so that they'll actually go into the ground a little bit more. So there's a pro tip. Okay, what we've got going on. I've got a build. We made a phone call to California, and we're putting those together. MP59s, these are brand spanking, right? Brand spanking new. We're going to put in some dynamic golds. Now this one is an X100. It's an X100 S300 kind of a mix, and we wanted to make sure he wasn't logo sensitive before we started building. So we're set, ready to go, man. So we ought to be pretty close. Another one, the Mizuno Hot Metal. This has been a real popular club. It's got a fairly wide sole, I would say an average offset, and we used the Modus 105 and the X-Flex, and I soft stepped them to get them back down into the stiff range. Why? Look at how much you got to go through to get to this thing. All right, and that's a 6-iron. I was 1.5 inches over standard. All right, 1.5 inch over standard. So it's like a 39-inch 6-iron, and with some really large grips. So the dude is pretty tall. He's a 7-footer, and so we made it. And the good part about it is, everybody gets worried about swing weight. With the 105 and the X and all that other stuff, that it came out to a D5. So I'd say that's really, really pretty good. All right, that was local. Going to Texas is this one. This is a Mira. My dog just came in. It's a Mira, and if you notice, it's a nice yellow Farrell. And again, we're putting on some Nippon Tour 125s in the S. This is a solid club. You wanted bent to a certain spec, and I actually had to weaken all the clubs. So that was pretty neat. And then finally, you saw me do the review on the single length using the Patterson shafts. All right, the same customer that did this found some Cobras and got the Cobra single lengths, and we've put the Jumbo Max, and these Jumbo Max are the ultralight, so they really let you feel the head. This is a really neat setup. I really kind of like the look of this. This one has a little bit of a closed face on it, and it has the rails so that you can get through the turf. And that's always been, that was the biggest seller for Cobra, was the baffler. And they've, ever since, it's sticking with the rails, no issues. But I really, really do like that. If it wasn't brand new, I'd probably hit it and do a review on it. So there's that one. And the other ones that I showed you last week, the Titleist DCIs, I got most of them done. And if you're listening, we all assume that the DCIs would have a taper tip in them, and they do not. They have a parallel, which was kind of unique. And we thought that the Cleveland wedges would have parallel tips, and they did not. So we're all backwards. But we made everything work, except for the the wedges. I didn't like the shafts, so we're reordering some shafts in order for them to come out proper. And outside of that, it's been a really, really long couple of days here in order to put that out. That's something like 40 clubs or something like that. It's been some crazy number. And today went golfing, took my dad, of course, in which he did a wonderful job caddying, and I actually broke 80, shot a 79. And it was a true-to-life 79. Went 38 on the front and commenced to just trying to see how bad I could screw it up on the back with a series of a double and a couple of regular bogeys, and then got my proverbial head out of my backside and started putting again. So it was a 79 with 3 putts, so life's pretty good. Some of the other stuff I wanted to show you, let's see. There's more of the picture of it. And then there's the other ones that you got to see. Came across a really old golf ball. For all those guys that are used to old golf balls, see the paint that's off of it? It's an old Wilson. Okay, and today went golfing and used my Acura Tour Z with the stars and stripes. That is going to stay in the club as long as it's worked out. And I had to go around with that, so not too bad at all. Okay. All right, so we got through all the work. Now for all the congratulating, right? Let's see if I can get this thing to go. Through all the congratulating. Charles Schwab. The Charles Schwab Cup. Jason Kokrak, we all know that one. Jason Kokrak shot even. Got to -14. Jordan Spieth went just completely the opposite way at +3. I don't know exactly what happened. And went to -12 for second place. Going to the guy who came in last but still made the cut was DA Points. The dude shot 10 over to shoot a 13 over. So he was doing okay until the wheels just came clean off. So not too bad. The other one I wanted to mention was the Kitchenaid Senior PGA Championship. And we're going to give a big shout out to Alex Jaka, who went -3 for a total of -8, with Tim Petrovic -3 for a total of -4. And there's some NCAA stuff going on, and I see that they crowned an individual player, and the team events are ongoing. So if you like to see some, I mean, that's some really true golf right there, if you really like watching those guys go. And those are some future tour players, so be worth the effort for certain. All righty, guys, let's see. Let's see what we got here. Let's start at the top. No rounds, kids soccer tournaments. Well, you got to be a dad, right? And so we like that part of it. And like you saw, I did the 79 for you, so there you go. Question: what tips do you have on storage of golf clubs? All right, so that's a good question. Again, can you tell you're a teacher? Salute to the military. Okay, so storing golf clubs, that's always been a real topic of discussion. Storing golf clubs, number one, during the summer, not in the trunk of your car, particularly if it's a black car, okay? The temperatures in the trunk of a black car can exceed the temperatures that it takes to break down the epoxy in the on the golf club. And so it's something else. Robone, you want to come get her? Anyway, so don't put them in the back of the car like on an all day. So if you're going to go, you go to work and your car's in the middle of a parking lot and the sun beats down on it and it's going to be black and you know it's going to be hot, put them somewhere else, right? Maybe even, although it gets super hot, but it doesn't get that hot, maybe in the back seat. And try something like that. You know, same thing with a truck. If you have the one of those tonneau covers, something like that. Inside, I prefer, not in the garage, only because it sees such a climate swing. I prefer them into like a mud room or a closet or a basement or something along that line, just to keep it out of the environment because of the shifting environments. That's what causes the rust on steel shafts and that kind of stuff. So if you keep it out of major swings, that you should be fine. Now, at the end of the year, you clean them up, and I put a coat of wax on them. And then that way it's also sealed, much like you would do for your car. So there you go. Matt, thank you, buddy. Mr. Kent Nicholson, how are you, sir? If you may, what do you know about the green dot cog or green cog adapters the staffers are using, and where are they available from? Well, Kent, if the staffers, meaning you see the guys on the PGA Tour, are using them, chances are that's the only place that they are. They're on the tour trailer or at the headquarters. Now, I saw you with that question, and I've already sent an email to my rep to see whether or not he knows anything about it and what we can do. I'm not even sure. I didn't even know they existed until you said something. So the only thing I can come up with is one of two things. One, it's a cog that you can put in for making the change permanent. So you glue them down. It's to help you glue it down. Why? Don't know. Or the other one is it's another cog that gives you a greater adjustability. Now, I'm not sure what more adjustability somebody needs more than a degree up or 2 degrees up and 1 degree down. Maybe more than 1 degree down. Who knows? Outside of that, man, I do not know. But I am checking. Brian Roberts, sir, how are you? Thank you for staying up late. Yeah, we're trying to get us plenty of golf. You have been diagnosed with carpal tunnel. That is not fun. So in my wrist. So I'm hoping treatment. Anyone knowing treatments for this? Well, Brian, I've known a lot of folks that have had it, and the first thing they try to do is give you therapy. Right? They try and get therapy to work it out, whatever the exercises are. I know the guys walked around with one of those stress balls for a while. I don't know if that helped or prolonged the inevitable, which means they're going to cut on you. Outside of that, you'd have to ask anybody else that's done it. I've known guys that have carpal tunnel and they just kind of suffer through it until they can't, and then they go get operated on, and then they recover, and it's all good. All righty, David, what do you say, buddy? Hopefully you guys in the UK are getting out. I see that you guys, there's no more lockdown, right? You guys they haven't decided to go back. Everybody's out and about. Hope you're doing all right. And yes, we are having issues. Not right now. We are waiting on grips. I've got not as bad as it once was, but there's still a delay. Our biggest delay right now is that when we deal with the OEM companies and we purchase our heads, that the delay from the Japanese manufacturers it's very, very long, right? It is very long. Callaway has been right on it. It's been phenomenal. I really, really like it. The Wilson has gotten down to, they were out there very, very long. They're up to 3 weeks now, between 3 and 4, and the rest of them are 4 to 6, and that's just slowing us down. I got a whole bundle of shafts out here waiting on heads, and Robin has been ordering grips, and we've got them bundled grips waiting on heads. So as soon as they come in, we make them. So there we go. Master Dave, you completed Capital Level 1 and 2 certification. As a matter of fact, I have. I've done both, and it is neat. JB is one heck of a guy. I got to talk to him in person. He is very, very knowledgeable. And the guys that are there, they are very, very sharp. And don't be afraid to ask them questions. They are very responsive as well. Willard, how are you, sir? I've just fitted the KBS1 putter shaft on my capo. Some very interesting and improved stats in tremble and consistency. Yeah, yes, as a matter of fact, because it's mostly because there's weight in the back of the hands. That big honking piece is heavy, and it's in the back of the hands. Very much like back weighting. But yeah, I think we could all use some of that. Look at that. Joe, how are you, sir? We talked about Westchester, buddy. Thank you again. And that's what I just did, bud. That's what I just did. Charles, how are you, sir? Hopefully you're getting out there throwing it around. Stephen Pulaski. Thank you, sir. Pulaski, sorry. There you go. She's been waiting for that. There's Charles telling it. And there's Kent, Charles. There we go. My dog Rex. Okay, really good. All right, Brian, anytime, man. Hopefully you can stave it off as much as you possibly can, because I mean, all it is a day of, it's days and days and days and days of recovery. So that's what we want. Yeah, I know, right? This was just the neatest little thing, and it's a rubber outer coating. I think I'd like to see it with a little bit more texture, but who doesn't like that? I mean, that is just neat as all get out. And then you got a ball marker if you need it. I mean, it's all a little one-in-one thing. All righty. Joe, who didn't make it back, second happy birthday to the CEO of the McGolf Shop. Now, if you add weight to a putter by adding sand in the shaft, is the club still legal? The answer to that is yes. Yes, it is. The things that apply to putters from a legality standpoint are dimensional and property, meaning the face has got to be so wide versus the depth. It has to have a particular shape. It can't look like a pickle or a bull's foot or something like that. It has to have a putter shape. The amount of offset and how high the offset goes before it stops. The length, the lie, those types of things. There's quite a few, to be honest. All right. So it's, to take that, but weight has never been an issue, and where you put the weight has really never been an issue, unless, of course, you've got sandbags hanging off of them, and then, yeah, that would be a problem. But filling the sand, no. People used to do it quite a bit. The heavy putter kind of took its cue from that, and it's got like a 2-pound. It feels like 2 pounds. It's a lead stick about this long, about yay big around. It fits in the shaft. It's almost 10 inches long. Alrighty, Buffalo. On a trip to South Carolina, finally playing my first Nicklaus course. Long Bay. All right, well done. Long Bay's pretty nice, actually. It's been years since I've played it, but I'm sorry. Yeah, I played Long Bay. There's an Oyster Bay as well, or used to be. But hey, enjoy, man. Enjoy. We're going to try and get down in September. Jerry Smiley had a fitting. Hi, Jim Rowe had a fitting, and he said I need to use heavier regular flex shafts. I use 65-gram senior shafts now in my irons and looking at an 84-gram steel shaft. The added weight increased my smash factor with little decrease in swing speed. Question, how is it going to change the swing weight, and any recommendations for reshafting? Well, if you're going to go from, let's say everything's equal, same grip, same head, and you go from 65 to 84, what is that? That's basically 20 grams, right? So it'd be about 3 swing weight points heavier, right around that area, about three swing weight points. However, now we always talk about swing weight, and we're always worried about, Jerry, don't sweat it, right? If he put this thing in there and you hit it and your smash factor went up, because smash factor will override the decrease in speed or any of that other stuff every time, right? Every time. So take it with what you get. Now, 84 grams, pretty specific, man. They make 85 gram, 95 gram shafts, and in that range, right? In that range, you can find stuff like there's the KBS Max 80. There's KBS Tour 90, slightly heavier. There is the Nippon 950, which is a 95, but they also have an 850, right? And that's right. It's one of those right there, and it is an 85-gram shaft. And then they have a 750 as well. So there's plenty to choose from. Plus, if you look over here, right in here, right, there's a 80-gram. You can get 80-gram graphite and be pretty good with it in that direction as well, if weight is truly the only thing, and regular flex. Regular flex might be the problem. The graphite, when they come in weight, they don't necessarily designate a flex. That might be a little much. But in the other ones, yeah, you can get regular flex in all of them. And every last one of them is made to hit the ball high, okay? They're a little bit softer in the butt, but they are heavier, and they do work very, very well. And but yeah, and then the recommendations for reshaft, that would be it for reshafting. And then tomorrow you can watch and see how you can take them apart without really too many in the way of tools. Oh, well, I don't know if Mrs. McGolf has seen that one yet or not. She's busy out. I wish I could show you. She's right outside. Maybe I will if she's watching, because there's a delay from when I speak to when it gets over to there. Maybe I'll show it over there. Here we go. You ready to see her? We're going to show it outside right here. Oh, there she is. And my dad's the hat on the other side. Okay, so there we are. All right, Matt says happy birthday. Paul, haven't seen you for a while, buddy. Hello from Withamsville, Ohio. I am now starting my second week of rehab. So far, I've dazzled the therapist with my mobility. Well, look at you go. Well done, sir. I'm glad to hear it's all going right. Hopefully, it does. Hopefully, you're on a speedy way to recovery. That's what we want to see. I know, right? Charles, I know. That's the first thing out of my mouth. I was like, we looked and I said, oh, I had three putts. That could have been a 76. I'm like, yeah, right? And however, I'm taking it as a win, Charles, because last time I was out there and I went with Bob, I had like 9. Okay. I was just completely outside my groove. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And this time I just decided I was going to it was funny. It was just a mental attitude. Instead of punching at the ball, I decided I'm going to roll this ball up there because I was leaving everything short. I'm just going to roll this doggone ball and watch it go by. And the funny part is that I would roll the ball and the second putt was always within 3 foot. And then just had to kind of take a deep breath and go. So that's going to be my mantra going forward is got to pound it to the hole. And you're right. Now, it's funny because I took Odyssey's got what's a Model 5. If you guys haven't seen it, I would suggest you look at it. It's kind of a larger mallet, and it has these, it's just a regular big mallet, but it's got these guidelines on it, and it's just so easy to putt. And even they don't make it left-handed. I get it right-handed and just drop everything. It's crazy. And so I've called in there and say, hey, make me a lefty. All right. You are correct, sir. I need to. And the chipping was also something. I did work on the chipping, and that did help. To, if nothing else, I hate to sound like a swing guy, but if nothing else, you've got to, and when it gets to short game, you have to have a large amount of trust. And the trust is that, because if you don't follow through, you chunk, you do all these other things that you normally wouldn't do if you were just relaxed and having good results. And that's where I ended up getting to. And when I started choking, that's what I was doing. And then I finally, my dad talked me through one of them. It was kind of funny. And then there you go. All right. Nick Johnson, what do you say, buddy? Can you describe what's going on with ping irons and the mechanical fit of their shafts? I find them to be the worst in pulling heads. Are there any tricks of the trade to remove them easier? Nick, the mechanical fit, the fact that you're having an issue means it's really good on their part. They used to do what was called dimpling, and what you would do is you take the shaft and you would basically take a punch and you would punch it and create this dimple, and it would give it would kind of out of round the shaft and give it more place for the epoxy to accumulate. I don't know why they thought that was a good thing, but it kind of out around it, and it would almost press fit in. And honestly, between that and I think they use a different epoxy to be sure. It depends on the age, Nick. The newer ones I don't seem to have too much issue with, and most of them are the ones that have the Farrell, right? Those seem to be fairly easy. It's the ones that don't, right? That have that white epoxy that's around the outside. Those guys can give you a tough time. And normally what I've found out, if I'm not in a real hurry, meaning I got to get it done, it's a 2-course application of heat, meaning that I get it really hot. I go about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, cycling it around, and then let it set and go do a couple grips or something like that. Let it cool down, come around and hit it again, and then typically it pops off. Now you're going to have to, it will discolor a little bit, but the ping coating is it's tough as a tank. And you just, I just hit it with the wavy wheel and it's gone. It's just that fast. And they come out pretty good. Right now I'm fighting. If you really want to have a journey in how to fight a ping idea, I've got a ping putter in here that just will not let go. And I don't know if it's got the ball bearing in it. It's old enough. It's the circa to having the ball bearing in it. And typically what you have to do is drill a hole in the bottom and punch it out. Well, I can't get a drill bit to go through this thing. It's like made out of, it's made out of this bulletproof stuff. Yeah. All righty. My dog Rex. There you go. Well done. Well done, sir. I don't know much about the Hanma product, Nick, other than they approached me to ask me to carry the stuff. And I took a look at the drivers, and, I'm sure they put a lot of research and development in it, but I don't see them being earth-shaking. I just don't see it. For where they're at in the market, which is the upper tier stuff in the price point range, I would expect, my expectation would be that this thing is a top tier performing piece of equipment, and it's not. All right, that unfortunately it's not. They do look very, very nice. I will give them that. Now the TW stuff is a little more down to earth, and I would call it an average. But they make their home and everything on the irons, as far as I'm concerned. So I've never gone not gone any further than that. Grove City, we like going there. There's Nick. Happy birthday to Robin. Look at that. So that's right. Kent, the weather it's not necessarily backwards to here, but it's just kind of off a season. Is that what I get out of it? Because certainly we want to come over one more time, maybe even two if we can, make it happen. But we got to make sure we plan it on the time frames that it's a little more conducive to playing golf. All righty. So hopefully it's all good. Yeehaw! 425s, 8 to 10 weeks. I can only hope, Jewel, that they're giving you one of those, give you a long lead time and deliver it earlier so that it looks better. I just hope for you, because that's a long, long time. I mean, 4 to 6 weeks, it's almost like you forgot you ordered the thing. And then when they show up, it's crazy. The only reason why our guy this guy here got his any sooner is because they made a mistake and they sent him out early for another order, and they were the wrong heads. And I was like, well, these aren't going to work. And then we had to work some other magic. I had to, in order to make a time deadline that I committed to, I ended up getting Robin actually worked out a deal where we got a whole entire set. I just took them apart and put them back together the right way, and now we have a brand new set of KBS S taper or dollar tapers in S Flex. So if anybody's interested, I know where a whole set of new ones are at with the multi compound, not the fours, just the regulars. Mr. King, how are you, sir? Hopefully everything's doing good. Charles, you see that hat over my shoulder? Okay. Would switching a different shaft, regular with a different kick point, give me a higher contact on the face of the driver? Ooh. My first inclination, Duke, is to say no. I know what it sounds like is that, if it kicks and it does that. However, yes, a shaft does kick ever so slightly. However, it's my opinion that mostly the shaft bends down into it. So if this is the face of your club and you're swinging to you, right? You're swinging to you, that it'll do this. This is very little, right? Very little. if you're looking for higher contact on the face, if you are, and they'll just say, well, tee it down, right? You can do that as well in order for it to go up, because teeing is a little backwards in what people would think. But I would look at that. But no, I don't think so, to be honest with you. What I would look at is, if you're really looking to get a little bit higher on the shaft or higher on the thing is, I'd scoot in about 1/4 of an inch and just see what happens. Just scoot in on it. But everything in golf's a tweak, right? Everything in golf's a tweak. It's this much. It's that much. This much closer. This much the ball that way. This much the ball that way. The taking it back just every little bit. They're all little bitty tweaks in order to find that perfect combination where the club meets the ball. And I say that today because I had when you strike a ball and you just know it's not the best. And you're like, why is it feel so bad? And I realized I wasn't all the way back. I mean, I don't take a big shoulder turn by any shape of the imagination. I take about a 1/2 to 3/4 swing, and what was happening was I wasn't cocking my wrist, or at least a lot. I wasn't cocking my wrist, and once I started doing that, the contact came back. The flight started getting higher, that kind of stuff. So there you go. I played at a place called Crown Hill, Nick. It's in Williamsport, Ohio. It is to the west of Circleville, about 15 miles. It's about a 30-minute ride for me from my house. So we've been making kind of a ritual out of it now. We get up about an hour early, or get on the road about an hour early. We'll stop in Chillicothe, which is the town between here and there, and we'll stop at a McDonald's and pick up a sandwich and a pop and eat it on the way up there. And then we'll grab our cart, and normally we're the first or second tee time, and we just take right off and don't mess around. Today we were the second tee time at 6:50 and some change, and they let us play through. It was me versus 4 of them, so they were kind enough to let me play through. And we started it was probably right on time, 6:52. And when I closed the door on the trunk of the truck, it was 9 o'clock. So 9:05. So we got around pretty good. So I was happy with that. There's Krister. How are you, sir? Hopefully have you recovered? I want to make sure that you're okay. That's what we were thinking about, Charles. I mean, I'm not a fan of the white because of getting dirty, but I was thinking maybe a green or even a gray or a black, and then having the McGolf logo put on it. I'm certainly in tune for one of those, because I mean they do work, and I mean there's just too much good for that. So we should. Hopefully Mrs. McGolf is listening to this, and we can get a hold of J&M Golf so we can get something going. She's busy talking with my dad. See, even Kent likes it, so there you go. Technical difficulties? I don't think so. Josh, where are you? Clubs are shipping tomorrow. Oh, there's Josh. There he is. Yep, tomorrow. What do you prefer when doing fittings, total weight or swing weight? Krister, I prefer total weight. I've been a big believer in total weight my whole life, and I have yet to find anything to convince me otherwise. Now, I do use swing weight as a guide, right? As a guide and as a building tool, because you know that you're making a consistent set. If your swing weights are within, I give myself plus or minus a point, and that's a good consistent tool. But total weight, I don't even mess. I don't mess with swing weight, except for when you guys send me stuff and say I want this swing weight. And I have had discussions with some of you out there saying that it just can't happen because of what the stuff that you've sent, like super light shafts and very heavy grips, and there's not enough lead on the planet to make you get that swing weight. And if you have to put all that lead in there just to obtain a swing weight, the total weight will be out of whack, right? Just completely out of whack, and the thing won't swing correctly anyway. And but also, when you concentrate more on total weight, you find that the balance of the club is better, right? And honestly, unless you're like Edgar Allan Poe, kind of sensitive to outside influence, touch and sound and stuff, that the studies have shown that a three swing weight point change on the average golfer isn't detected. So if you wanted D3 and I hand you to D0, you might think it's light, but you wouldn't notice that it's not D3. All right. Now, professionals who do it every day, yeah, they might see 3, but they can go as high as 2, which you think it's only 1 point, but when you're doing it every day, that's something. Now, that's just the way I like looking at it, because it's more about the balance, and the heft and that kind of stuff. And a lot of times they tend to go hand in hand. It just may not be traditionally what you see, right? It may not be traditionally what you see, and that's the thing. Man, there's getting a whole lot of Robin, getting a whole lot of happy birthdays in here. Let's see. Here we go. David Rogers, hello, sir. Still love the clubs. Heading to Pinehurst later this week. No, I do not. I have not. And we had some guys up here from Kentucky that go down there. And I've asked them if they've ever got on Pinehurst proper. And as many times as they've gone down there, they have yet to get on any of the actual Pinehurst courses. Apparently there is a plethora of courses that are around the course itself. And as he said that he described it in depth to us once. And honestly, I don't think you're going to have to worry about getting some food. I don't think you're going to have to get some food. The other part is, the other one you might look at is, when we went down to Florida this year, and Bob and I and the wives went down there. If you're truly up in the northern area, I would suggest looking up chicken and waffles, right? Robin's going to laugh at me, but chicken and waffles. It sounds horrible when you put them together, but when you eat them, it'll be the only thing you eat while you're down there. So there's my recommendation, especially in the South. It's gonna be pretty good. Let's see, I'm looking at her. She's looking at it. Okay. Is the Nippon Zelos 8? I prefer steel over graphite. I feel the head better. Thanks for the info. Yeah, I've got a Zelos 7. That's the very first one right there. I don't have the 8. Very nice shaft. There's a lot. You'd be surprised what goes into that thing. It's for the smoother guy. You're going to get the ball flight, and certainly that could be one as well. Nick, happy birthday, your wife, and it's my granddaughter's birthday too. Well, you say happy birthday to your granddaughter for us, Nick. And yes, we do want to go to Pinehurst, by the way. The only reason why we haven't gone is because the wives want to sit on a deck to look over the ocean, and it's pretty hard to do that in the middle of Pinehurst. Mr. Joe, thank you for another question. Can you explain how swing weight came into the golf industry for me? When did it hit mainstream golf? Who came up with it? Wow, that's a history lesson. That goes back. So swing weighting came in probably I'm going to say the 30s or 40s. That's probably a little early. No, I'm going to say Thursday. Maybe a little bit later. Anyway, so what was happening was there was no way to track a standard, and they figured out that if they had, and swing weight was something they came up with to say, yea, verily, these are consistent because they all weigh the same. And there are two methods. There's pyrorhythmic and low rhythmic. and the low rhythmic is what you see, the D 1, 2, 3, all the way through 10, right? Or to F0. And that's what you see. The pyrhythmic was a little more difficult to deal with, and it died out very, very quick. Kenneth Smith out of Kansas City is attributed with coming up with the original swing weight scale, at least in mass production. I would say that it existed already. He just figured out how to make a better mousetrap. And ever since that day, swing weight has been the standard, only because it's the one thing that you can measure on every golf club at the same time regardless. And that's why. Now they have digital versions of it. They have a swing weight scale that's called a shadow scale that's in use on the tour still to this day. If you guys remember the how, you know, when you put your foot on a thing and it x-rayed your foot and it left a shadow behind. Not necessarily that brutal, but they called it a shadow scale, and you laid it down, it took off and gave you a number, and away you went. Very, very accurate, but you had to be very, very gentle with it. But that's how it came into the golf industry, and you know, and it's a measure, again, like I said earlier, it's a measure of consistency for me. Does that mean everything's the right for you? Maybe not. Right? So what used to be is if you were smoother like Jerry is and that kind of stuff, that a lighter swing weight would help you out. Well, it was lighter because, and they would say, well, you need to back weight it. Well, if you back weight it just to trick swing weight, all you did was add more weight and you put it in the hands, and now all of a sudden the hands are flopping around, or, you know, they do one of those or do one of those because when you're smoother, you just like total lighter, right? And as opposed to just trying to trick the scale. And that's the one part I get about it. I don't mind to add some grams to, you know, to make things look and level out real good. But when you got to add stuff like 10 grams or some crazy number, then you know something's not right. Mr. Sonny V, what do you say, buddy? I missed last week after they opened up Ontario. Hey, you're not shut down now. Well done. Yeah, right. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy. You almost got to start hoarding. I mean, it's not it. You know, and the other thing. So here's my my supply chain story. You guys know that I switched over to a different epoxy. I use the 3M stuff. I was using the DP 810 black, and it was very, very fast, very, very hard, very, very good, very, very expensive. And all of a sudden the supply chain broke, and I could not find it. I went through the internet, and I went through 3 pages of people, and I called them all. Do you have, you know, you go to their website, and you would click on it, and it's saying, oh yeah, we've got it. You go to click on it to buy it, and say, oh, 4 to 6 weeks. So I just, after the first 3, I just stopped and I started calling them individually and couldn't find anybody. So I called up 3M and I said, hey, what do you got in place of this 810? They said, well, what do you want to do? And they said, oh, man, we got the thing for you, DP 420. All right, DP 420 black, no problem. Well, I go to their website and it's specifically for making golf clubs. How about that stuff? With a 20-minute working time. So now I don't have to, you know, get moving around like a one-arm paper hanger, and I got time. I can get it together, work it together, and in 20 minutes, this thing is, I'm able to work this stuff over. I'm like, wow, now that is something. So I start looking for 420, and I can't find 420. I found one. There's a company in Cincinnati had one tube, and they were associated with a group in Arizona that had to come this way. And so I bought one tube. And then Joe Broderick rescued me with a second one. So now I have got 2. With all that building, I'm already getting through 1. And now I'm seeing that the 420 is coming back around. So I'm going to have to work on that. Then they also have, in the different styles of the tube, they have the 200 milliliter, 400 milliliter. And, you know, they're talking about, if you bought these 200 milliliters, you're talking about spending $1,000. Pardon me. You're talking about spending $1,000 on 6 tubes. I'm like, ay. You know, I like gluing golf clubs together, but man, $1,000, that's a lot of glue. And so I'm on the search again. We're, 420. I've got orders out. I've got 2 standing orders I've had out since before May, and they've backed one out. So I'm going to keep them on there just in case, but I'm going to have to go find some more. So there's mine. All right. Jerry said the fitter also needed to add weight to the front of my driver to help lower my spin. So I'm adding 2 grams, and if it stops ever, I'm going to go try it. Very good, sir. I don't think 2 grams is going to do you a whole lot. So I'll use this. I'll use the Cobra as an example. So when they talk about adding weight, so you see how they have, well, let's see, what is that? Oh, it's just a decorative piece. So see this weight here? The more that weight goes this way, the more the center of gravity will get towards the raises. Okay? It raises, and that's what's reducing spin. And so when you can take a piece of lead tape, if you have a regular driver, and you put a piece of lead tape and you can virtually put it right here, right? And get you one about, I don't know, 2-3 inches long, and put 2 of them right there. And watch what happens. Very, very cool stuff. That's the reason why all the Players models are low spinners, because all that weight's forward. And it's because they already have an up angle on their swing most of the time. And that's what reduces the spin. The funny part is that I've been this Max LS from Callaway, the LS for low spin. It's got the slider so I can adjust, so I can tweak and help guys get the face closed. This thing's a weapon, an absolute weapon when you get it out there. Matthew O'Malley, what do you think? Hello, everyone. What do you think about the Biomec Putter, if you have any information on them? I don't. Biomec. Well, Biomec. Maybe I do, and I just don't know. I don't know. We'll have to look that stuff up. Let's see. Oh, okay. Holy cow. No, that's not it. So, is that thing mounted in the back? It looks like it is. Oh, it is. Okay. All right. So the Biomec Putter is I'm not sure what all the advantages that they're telling you that it is, but basically you take a putter, and if this is the front end of the face, they're mounting it on the back, and they're putting a huge bend in the putter shaft, and basically giving you a new way of balancing the face. It just looks weird. I think it's still a face balance putter, but it still looks weird. I mean, if bottom line is, if it put the ball in the hole more frequently, and I could remove my last 3 putts and it looked like a loaf of bread on a stick, I'd play it. There's Steve. How are you, sir? In September, really? Okay. I'd like to do that. September would work for me. I'm all good with September. Ray Farrell, how are you, sir? Jim, do you go by the theory of shaft weight progression through the bag? I went from 105 steel irons to KBS TGI 80s. Good shaft. I want to go lighter in my driver, also from 65 to 45. Yeah, as a whole, Ray, I kind of like that. I like the progressive weight. Now, is it a hard and fast rule? Not necessarily. There's been times. So number one, you're seeing a lot of lighter weight shafts in fairway woods, and they're almost the same weight as the driver. I've seen it work very, very well. I've also seen it work very, very poorly. So you have to be kind of careful at that one. tradition would dictate if you're at 45, 55, 65, that kind of thing. And even going down when you get in, Ray, and going down and getting into your wedge. If you're into your irons and you're at 80 you're at an 80 grammer, look at a 90, 95 gram or even a 105 shaft that will go into the wedge, and that keeps progressing that way. Six weeks for one iron. Oh my goodness, Brian, thank you. Yep, nice hat. There it is. All right. Charles, they don't have anything in the correct size for this big head, so don't sweat that one. All right. Oh, there you go. A gray one. So we got to vote for gray. There's, I still have trouble with my shoulder, but I can play. The King Utility 4-iron I bought is fantastic. Put it in 21 and can hit it from both the tee and the fairway. Well, the way that you play, I would have figured that would be a good tee marker for you. What I do as well, they get in there, and I have a 2 hybrid, and you hit certainly further than I do, but I mark a club or a hole at 380 to 390, and if it's under 380 to 390, depending on how I'm swinging, I use the hybrid, and that's just all that is course management, so that I have a good club that's into the green second time. Not that I'm all big and bad or anything. It's just that I get a better club choice when I do that. And then if it's over, then it's the driver. So that's what we do. I'm glad. The King Utility 4-iron. Good for you. Oh, my goodness. Here we go. I like total weight too. Cut down a ½ inch on the Lambkin Crossline Jumbo to make the club feel balanced. There you go, man. Well done. The Villages, Dwayne. What do you say, man? The Villages. Are you cleaning out all their pockets? I'm sure that you are. They see you coming and they just like, they either want you on their team or they start running for the hills. Well done, sir. And I can't thank you enough for that tip on Molaska. He is between those things. Those guys have helped me out. Well done. Can't hit the clubs that feel head heavy. Me either. Dimpled Sphere. How do you get a senior flex and a heavy steel shaft soft step 3 times? Ha ha! I don't know. I don't know, man. And if you stop. See, the thing though, if you soft step it 3 times, that means there's going to be 3 clubs that won't make it. That's the other part about it too. That's the good and the bad to soft stepping. You saw it here. She says, I could relax at Pinehurst. Okay, we've got that now. Bob, you've heard that. I'm sure you're on here. We got to do this. I've been stripping that set of clubs. I think about trying to get my senior certification now. Oh, been striping that set of clubs. Think about started working on it. Dwayne, dude, if you were anywhere near where you're at when you were up here, that certification should be it should be nothing more than a thought. Dude, you were killing it up here. Well done, sir. Maybe I'll see you on TV one day. There you go, Al. Thank you, sir, and the same to you. Well, I tell you what, Joe, if you got it, I'll be more than happy to buy it from you. Holy cow is slang for Swiss cheese. Well done. Well done. All right, some here. Look at this. Look at somebody's getting all kind of funny. I do not. I do not know him. I'd like to. Steve, Pinehurst, Austin, played number 2 and 4 months ago. If you have a chance, go. I think I would. You know, the county, there's what, 8 courses down there? I think there was 8, and there's a local boy up here from this county that took to being a greenskeeper or superintendent and had the responsibility of number 6 and 8, I think it was. Did really, really well. Now he's up here working for Jack Nicklaus's course at the Memorial. So he's done very, very well for himself. It's always good when somebody really likes what they're doing. Don is a retired Michigan officer, so I've played with him. All right. And no, that's not him. Oh, that's too bad. Look at that, guys. I made it all the way to the bottom right at 6:30, 6:31. I'm surprised Mrs. McGolf hasn't come in here and given me the stuff. So anyway, guys, it's right at the hour. Again, thank you for joining me from all over the world, Ohio, all over the U.S. I can't thank you enough. The fact that we get to talk like this is awesome. So I just really, it's really good to hear that. So we're going to do it again next Monday, and be sure to watch the video coming out tomorrow. If you would watch the whole thing, it's like 9 minutes of your life. It should be fine, and it's about taking it out. And then I'll be following it up with another one because I used all my builds as boxes to builds type stuff. It is, and so it should work out pretty good. If you guys are interested in the towel or the apron, just give Miss McGolf a nod or an email, and then we will start looking at those. And guys, be careful out there. And as always, let me get into it. Here we go. Let's see your scores. Go low.